internet world. Hello, hello. We are your bearded brothers, back with yet another sports podcast. I am Matt from the Pants Are Optional side of the tracks.
I like making weird faces. I'm Chris.
Chris is from the Weird Faces camp. And we are definitely your bearded brothers. That almost looks like you're trying to have... You know what? I'm not going to say that at the beginning of this podcast because I don't want everybody to turn out right away.
Yeah, that would end well.
Oh, yeah, that would... Whew, talk about getting canceled.
Listen. I think plenty of people can use their own imaginations.
You know what? Probably because
We're not. I'm not worried about gifts yet. We're too big. We're not big enough for that yet.
the people that actually would watch this aren't going to watch it all the way through. I don't think anybody watches more than about 10 minutes of this podcast.
I would be surprised. I'd be shocked if there's people that watch past 10 minutes of this podcast.
I admit that I turn on our podcast just to pump the viewing stats while I'm playing Madden.
Well, I think everyone does. Like, anyone who has their own YouTube channel probably watches their own shit to pump their numbers. Like, it's just what it is.
That's just what it is, what the fuck it is. All right.
Yep.
There's a lot to go over this week. I want to start with a little bit of baseball news because it kind of came out of nowhere. And I don't think anybody saw it coming, and that's Craig Counsell. First off, congratulations to the fucking Texas Rangers for winning your first ever World Series championship. Good job. I'm very proud of you. You done well. Then,
of course, it's fucking Texas again, though.
You know what, though? I'm not mad because of all the times they've come either so close or been just the absolute dog's balls worst team ever.
I'm just trying to figure out why Texas has been so good at baseball the last decade. Like, it's just fucking hell, man. Texas teams, man.
Yeah, at least it's not the Astros.
True. Still Texas, though.
Yeah. Anyway, so Craig Counsell was the manager of the Brew Crew, left, and has now become the manager of the Cubs. It was one of those things that nobody saw coming. I didn't see it coming. Nobody predicted it. It just, boom, there it was. And we were like, what? It's kind of odd. Also, I will now talk about why I dislike NBA basketball.
No.
I will make
that's gonna go well.
This is gonna go very quickly, and all you hoop heads out there can hate me. I don't care. Do you want to know what typical scores were when I was watching basketball and actually cared about it?
I can tell you what the scores were like when I was actually watching some of it, and it'd be kind of like in the 80s, 90s.
Yeah. Maybe 110 for the really good
sometimes
teams.
In the hundreds,
110, 120, maybe.
Yeah.
And it was more, but it was usually like 97 to 84 or something.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Do you want to know what the typical scores are today?
Probably constantly over 100, I assume.
Try 140s, 130s.
Yeah.
I believe Boston just set an NBA record with over 150 points in a single game. And it's like, okay, well, I know what's going on. Nobody's playing any defense. It's literally, can you shoot the three? Can you splash a three repetitively? Nobody plays any defense.
I will only slightly disagree with that because I've also... So the people that I do talk to that I know actually really like basketball, it's not necessarily a lack of defense. It's the league coming down on not being aggressive anymore. So like a lot of the defensive aggressiveness you used to see, you no longer like Larry Bird would not be a Larry Bird in this.
No, exactly. You couldn't play that kind of defense. Bruce Bowen could not be Bruce Bowen in this league because he used to do awesomely effed up crap.
Yeah,
like when you jumped up to go hit a shot, he'd slide a foot under where you were going to come down, so
when you landed, it would land where
you would fall over.
But
so
you
couldn't
can't
get the rebound.
do that shit anymore.
No, and you can't even make any contact with anybody, or it's automatically your fault. And you know where this starts.
So I don't necessarily blame that on the players. I blame that on the.
Oh no, I absolutely blame it on the players because they started.
Well, it's the league though. The league is also putting down on that too.
Yeah, but they started selling fouls. Chris Paul got famous for being able to sell a foul. James Harden is the same way. James Harden does a thing where he kicks his foot out when he shoots a three so that it makes contact with you, the defender, even though you aren't the one making contact with him, and then he'll fall over like you touched him.
I agree. That is part of the player's problem. That is a player's issue. But the problem is the league that lets them get away with it.
Because
the
there's
league
no way...
fully knows what the rules are, and instead of remediating the problem right away when they saw the issue, they went, "No, that's not a problem."
Exactly.
And now it's permanently like that.
There isn't a
so
lot
it's 100% the league's part. The players, even in NFL, and I've heard NFL players even say this, the rules are there for a reason. However, every player will do whatever they can to try to edge out those rules as much as possible because they want the advantage. So if the league allows them to do it, it's 100% the league's fault.
And that's where the NHL is. So the NBA is on the route to where the NHL is now. And it's going to take somebody with a lot of balls and power, and it's not going to be Adam Silver, to dig the league out of the mess it's made for itself.
No, I think NBA numbers are going to keep slipping and slipping like they have been for a while, and eventually the NHL is going to take over for that third spot because, frankly, the NBA is just, it hasn't been fun to watch for years for me, and it's just continued. Like,
still
honestly, when I want to watch basketball, you know what I do? I throw on fucking YouTube and I watch the street ball because that's actually more entertaining.
Yes, and I'll watch, I want to watch something where there's some actual tactics, like defensive tactics, like they play up on you and they play good stout defense and you have to figure out a way by them, and, good sharp passing to get to the open guy. I don't want to watch just a snooze fest where everybody's scoring buckets in masses. That's boring.
Yeah.
Get that away from me.
Yeah, 100%.
So, I just now really zoned in on why I was so upset with basketball these days.
Oh, I've always known that the big problem is that it's the same reason that I don't like to watch football or soccer. It's sure it's not a lot of high scoring, but like, come on, the amount of like dives and falls that you see.
Oh
in that
yeah,
shit,
there's a shitload of
it's
dives
not.
and falls.
That's kind of annoying to watch.
It's more fun if you watch, like, the lower leagues where they're actually trying to compete and beat the crap out of each other. So it's the same with hockey. Like, if you watch beer league hockey or house league, and you watch low-level hockey where guys are just learning how to play, and they're really just playing to have fun rather than playing for big money, so much more fun to watch. So much more fun to watch.
Yeah.
And I think that's what it is that the problem with sports is professional sports. When you make money to do it, everybody wants to be the absolute best at it, and you're willing to take competitive advantages where you can find them so that you can make the most money and be the best.
That happens regardless of the money, though. Like, if you watch people who compete in sports, even for the small stuff, they will beat the shit out of it.
There's a lot of people.
That's the naturalness of having a competitive sport.
Some people
Anything
are competitive.
That's competitive,
Some people,
a lot of people are.
Some people are hyper competitive though, and other people are just like, I'm out here having fun, and if we win, that's great, and I want to beat you. But
sure. But there's always a competitiveness there.
Yeah, but I'm not saying that that's a bad thing. What I'm saying is when you are willing to push it to the grounds of breaking rules and doing things that aren't legal, to find that advantage.
Again, it's one of those things where like everyone in the league. So it's like there is a point where there are some people who will push obviously those bounds a little too far, and those are the people that tend to get slapped for it more often than not. But obviously there are, as we've seen, exceptions to that rule where people push those boundaries probably more than they should. Granted, if we think back to when Larry Bird played, a lot of people said the same thing about Larry Bird when he played. So
you know what Bird said? Yeah, you think I'm dirty? Look at Bill Laimbeer.
Yeah, but that's the point. Is that when you get in that hyper competitiveness, that's just the way it is.
I mean, basketball at one point in time was so rough that they actually made a couple of games. One of them had Bill Laimbeer on the front of it. That was Bill Laimbeer's Combat Basketball.
Oh yeah.
And then there was rival teams.
I don't remember. It's been a while.
It was a long time, but it was 2-on-2, kind of the same way that NBA Jam was.
Like NBA Jam. Yeah.
Except, in order to steal the ball, you punched your opponent in the face.
Yeah.
And fans would throw things like fries and drinks on the arena floor, and you could slip on them and crap.
So, but here's why. So we can say it's partially players' faults, and I won't disagree with that, but I think it's more often the leagues, and the reason why
not enforcing their own rules.
Well, it's not even just leagues not enforcing their own rules. The big one is, like, think about all the rules. If we just even think NFL-wise, for more people that probably watch that, look at the changes for hitting QBs that's happened over the last couple of years. It's about the owners protecting their investment. It's not about the players.
Oh, absolutely.
They say it's about the players, but it's not. It's about protecting their investment. And that's where actually problems happen. It isn't necessarily the players, because hyper competitive players will be hyper competitive. But when the owners come in and go, I pay your salary and you can't do that anymore because you're going to hurt each other, and I don't like that, that's where the problems come.
That's absolutely correct. And the problem, and that's what I meant by professionally competitive sports.
Yeah.
The biggest issue.
So I think you can do I think there's a way to do professional without that, but the problem is then there was the question of where's the money come from, and then is anybody getting paid what they supposedly are? Then you get into a whole lot of other issues.
And so my point.
Organized sports, I think, is good. I think that's a better way to put it.
Yeah, but my point is that as soon as you get the owners involved, who have these giant amounts of money tied up in these players, yeah, they want to protect their assets because they make more money if you're in the game playing and people are coming to the games to watch you play. And then potentially making the playoffs and going to the championships and winning championships. That allows you to sell merchandise, that allows you to sell tickets, that allows you to sell out your arena, which means you sell more, more drinks and everything else, concessions, and that's where your money as an owner comes in. And if you don't make that money off of those players, then there's no point. You're not making. You're not. It's kind of antithetical to what you want to do, because if they're injured or they're hurt, they can't make you money, but you still have to pay them. So it's not like you can save money on them.
Exactly.
I mean, some players have it put in their contract that they get paid a reduced price if they get injured.
But most don't.
No, you have a so a lot of them have a guaranteed.
A lot of them have at least a guaranteed minimum. Yeah.
Yeah, guaranteed minimum, and then it's the guaranteed minimum is usually pretty low, a lot of times, and then your incentives and things make it higher. But they started giving away these fully guaranteed contracts, and
guaranteed contracts. Yeah.
That's where the problem starts coming in, is because now you want to make rules to protect your investments. And I get that from a business standpoint, but in competitive sports, it makes the sport soft.
It can, but at the same time, then the problem is there's what alternative is there? Like, there really isn't one, because even if you say somehow, you know what I'm saying, to abolish the whole thing, like then all of a sudden, like, well, how many players are going to watch? Where's the money going to come from to televise certain things? Where's the money going to come from to this, for that, for this, for that? And then it becomes a whole different can of problems and worms.
Well, and the thing that I think is, somebody said it, within the next 20 years, the NFL is going to be the National Flag Football League.
I don't think so. I think they're going to set up something separate for that, to be honest. I think there'll be a separate thing altogether for that, personally. I understand the idea.
No. The idea is it's going to become so soft that it's going to be touch football.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. I get where they're coming from. I don't think that'll ever happen, because they want to set their own flag football league already, so they already want to have a separation there, and I think they're trying to separate that. So I don't think that they're going to get too much more with the rules. I don't think, but we'll see. I hope not.
However, talking about the investments, this seems like a good time to segue into injuries from the week.
There was a fair number of them.
Alrighty, so let's start with the easy ones. Jedrick Willis, MCL injury. He is I believe he's an offensive lineman. He is on IR, which means he is going to miss 4 games.
At minimum.
Dallas Goedert, tight end, forearm fracture. I believe it was not announced when I looked whether or not he was going on the IR, but he's a likely candidate for it.
I was going to say, I'd be surprised if he's not.
And he will miss 4 games bare minimum. Probably more.
Probably more on a fracture like that, yeah.
Daniel Jones, ACL tear, just coming back from his neck injury, tears his ACL, done for the season.
Like, how I feel bad for the Giants fans. Like, we finally got our QB back, and he's done again. Fuck. Like,
and now what are they going to do?
I don't even know who their backup is.
It was Tyrod Taylor.
Oh yeah, and then they had to use.
He's
Tommy
injured
DeVito
it on the IR because he has a rib injury, so he can't play
Yep.
4 games. So now
Yep,
they've
they're
got
playing
some
that
guy
rookie
with a
Tommy
New
DeVito
York
or whatever.
DeVito. It's Tommy
Yeah.
DeVito. That's the most New York
Super Italian name.
Oh, that's the most New York sounding name ever. Like,
New York
I'd love to
Italian
root
name
for
ever,
him, but I don't think he's the guy.
Oh, God, we've watched him twice now. He is not it.
Not it. You guys need to do something. You can't trade. You need to sign someone off the free agent
You need to
pile.
sign somebody, yeah.
And then
And Wentz ain't there no more, boys.
We'll get to that. Cam Akers.
Ugh.
Achilles tear.
Yep.
Gone for the season.
Gone
Now,
for the
here's the
season.
funny part.
That hurts.
It's the other Achilles.
Yeah.
He tore one a couple seasons ago. It's the opposite one this time.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if that might be a career for him.
Well, again, nowadays, apparently, from what I've heard with the Achilles surgeries, it's
but he's
very
now
possible.
had both of them injured, and does that affect his cutting, and how does that affect him on the?
he's definitely not going to be as good, but
yeah. So the question then is posed to him: does he really feel like continuing after?
does he want to continue?
Yeah, that's where it really comes in. Yeah. So those are the major injuries.
Oh, don't forget concussions. There was quite a few of those.
Oh yeah, I didn't even bother cataloging all of those. Jesus.
Just in the Vikings game alone, we had KJ Osborne go down with a really terrible concussion, and Jaron Hall.
That looked bad.
That looked ugly.
That looked ugly. And I think they threw a flag on that play too.
I think so.
I think it was.
Actually, I think he got ejected, if I remember right.
I don't remember. I know it was. I think they threw a personal foul flag on that one for a defenseless.
I remember them saying that it was.
Receiver.
I remember them saying that it was one of the one of the guys on air said it was the rules. I forget what his name is. He said it was worthy of a ejection. I don't know if they actually did or not.
Yeah. And then we have to talk about the Bengals game because Jamar Chase, woof. He didn't even catch it.
No.
But he came down hard, lower back first, flat back bump.
Yep.
He is now questionable to play this week with that back injury. And the funny thing was Chris Collinsworth on the broadcast.
That looked painful.
He literally goes, "I'm gonna tell you right now, he's gonna crawl out of bed tomorrow morning. He ain't gonna want to move."
Mm-hmm. When you land flat on your back like that, man,
it was so bad.
It hurts bad.
Yeah, he looked like that. Like they put some heating lotion and some heating pads on it. They got him loosened back up, and he went back in the game. More power to him.
I would have.
No, you or I wouldn't have.
No.
But that dude is a competitor. I will give him all the credit in the world, but there's a chance he won't play this week due to his back because it's not. It hurts when it first happens.
It's gonna tighten up.
It tightens up overnight, and so that tightening up is where, now. Can he get it right for this next game, or do they hold him out as a precaution?
Yeah. If they're smart, they'd hold him out. But again, this is the team that also just went, "Hey, Joe Burrow, your ankle's kind of okay. Go play football." So.
Well, you can definitely tell he's a lot better now because
he is now 100%. But I think it was
driving
after that.
the ball, and he's actually throwing on the run and moving in the pocket, and
it was after that. It was after that bye week, though.
Yeah,
took that extra bye week.
That extra bye week, and now he's all good to go.
Mm-hmm.
Not all the concussions, and then right before we came on the air today, there's a couple of announcements to make. First, Kyler Murray looks like he is going to start this Sunday, barring any major setbacks. So we will see Kyler Murray back because Clayton Tune apparently can't sing the tune.
That game was
abysmal.
pretty bad.
That was
bad.
abysmal. Absolutely abysmal.
I think there was only one QB that looked worse, to be honest with you, and we'll get there. They were pretty close to each other.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
You know the one I'm talking about, right?
I think so.
Okay. They had to get a new QB.
I was gonna say,
Yeah.
Oh.
That game was equally as ugly.
Oh. That was abysmal. I thought there was a chance that Stafford would start, but no.
Ripping in it, bro.
Ripping couldn't rip shit.
I think all he did was rip the ball, because, like, what was that one play where he fumbled it literally fucking twice? Like, come on, dude. At a certain point, just throw the ball away, get up on the play.
Like, even Zach Wilson looked better than Rippin. And that's
he still
saying
looked
something.
very good.
He didn't look very good at all.
So, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, Carson, and then, as we mentioned, Carson Wentz got signed by the Los Angeles Rams because, I mean, hey, you can't do worse than Brett Rippin.
They need a warm body that isn't Brett Rippin.
And at least Wentz shows flashes of being good.
Yeah, he has moments where he could do okay.
Yeah. But the rest of the time, you look at him and you just go, oh my god.
Now, as for what the Giants do, I mean, who's in free agency that's still available? That's
Colt
a big
McCoy?
name besides Wentz. Is that it, though?
Um,
Because Wentz was the big one, obviously, but who else? I feel like there's one other that we're missing.
Is Matty Ice still playing?
I don't know. I don't think he's technically unavailable to play. So I guess technically he could. I don't think he's officially retired or anything. Not that I'm aware of, anyways.
All right, let's see here.
Hey, no chewing on that. Sorry.
Ah.
He was trying to chew on the microphone. I don't care if he sits up here, he can't chew on it.
Yeah, I'm trying to find out. Because I don't have this immediately available.
No, that's fine. I'm pretty sure he didn't retire. So, the thing is, I saw him on the sideline in one of those blue jackets, which typically means that he's like... Wasn't he doing some commentating or part of the color commentating this week or something?
Case Keenum, I think, is still out there.
He's kind of well past his prime, though.
Yeah. I'm not saying that he's not.
I don't know. I don't know if Tommy DeVito might be.
I do think.
Asshole.
What was he wanting to chew on?
The microphone. It's all cloth and stuff, so he likes to try to rip it.
Oh. No.
So, I know I was going to call him an asshole because he knows when I'm trying to move him. If he doesn't move, I'm going to forcefully remove him, and that's why he was being an asshole. He didn't want to move.
I think they signed... Did they?
Excuse me, apologies. Who signed what?
I want to say he got signed... But I don't know.
Who? Who got signed?
Matt Barkley.
Oh.
They signed... The Giants have signed Matt Barkley, and he's on their practice squad. I don't know who is still available.
So Matt Ryan is an analyst for CBS Sports right now. I don't know.
They could potentially pull him out.
Does that? I was gonna say, does that mean he's still technically available? I don't know if that. I don't know if that does. I guess that would mean he's technically retired, so he'd have to like unretire. Which, I mean, for football players, we've seen that before. So
McCoy, I think Flacco is still out there. Nick Foles.
Oh, God. I guess go for Foles, because there's one thing we've learned about Nick Foles is he's shitty as a starter QB, but if you bring him in for just like half a season, he does pretty good.
Trevor Siemian.
Yeah,
literally maybe. It went Wentz, Ryan, McCoy, Flacco, Foles, Siemian, Bryce Perkins,
Who the hell that is?
Backup quarterback, won a Super Bowl sitting behind Stafford as the Rams' backup. E.J. Perry.
No.
Jake Luton. And Chase Garbers.
If it isn't like Matt Ryan or like maybe Simeon, I don't know.
Foles
maybe. Since you only have a couple games left. I mean, it's less than half the games left, so maybe you can bring him in and do okay.
Yeah. So here's the big one though that that a lot of people are saying. Why don't you just go ahead and keep the guy that you currently have, because you know where you're going to go with him and it's straight to the bottom. And why don't you try to get that number 1 pick or make a move and try to get
unfortunately, remember they just recently paid Jones, so that's
I know.
That's the problem they're going to run into.
We're going to get into that.
That's the problem they're going to run into.
Yeah.
They just gave him his big payday in the offseason, so I don't know if that's really an option for them, actually.
We're going to get into that. All right. With all of that being said, Week 9, you cleaned my clock again.
Just kind of sheer luck, to be fair.
No, I just...
You chose pretty poorly, to be fair.
I did choose very
There's
poorly.
A couple of times I even warned you. I was like, are you sure you want to...
Yeah, you did, especially the last one, and you said you were going to rub it in my face. You may now rub it in my face. I picked against the Chargers. Fucking... God damn it.
You should not have done that.
I should not have done that. I thought the Jets' defense could keep them in the game, and the answer was no.
Fuck no.
I forgot that when you have to spend 3/4 of the game on the field, you get tired.
Yes. Unfortunately for the Jets, that's exactly what happened.
At any rate, let's get moving on this. So, first game of the week, Titans at Steelers. We both picked the Titans. Sadly wrong. The Titans lose 16-20, and the Titans had a shot to win it at the very end of the game, and Levis threw a pick. In the end zone, though. He actually got the ball.
He tried, yeah.
Yeah, it would have been, if he'd thrown that ball a little more one direction, he might have gotten it into the window, and you might have had a totally different result, and he would be the hero.
Yeah.
But Levis played.
A lot of people are still calling him the savior for the Titans, and to be fair, I can see why.
To be fair, I can see it now too. 262 yards and a pick. Pickett, 19 of 30, 160 yards and a touchdown. Derrick Henry, 17 carries, 75 yards, 1 touchdown. Warren, 11 carries, 88 yards. Phillips, 4 receptions, 68 yards for the Titans. And then Deontay Johnson, 7 receptions, 90 yards and a touchdown for Pittsburgh. Oh, yeah. And one very pissed off Pickens.
He didn't really do much that game.
No. And here's the problem. Now, he didn't get a lot of looks, but they don't throw the ball a lot.
No.
And when they do, it's generally a shorter throw, and he's a deep guy.
Yep.
So, there's a lot of Pittsburgh fans currently dragging Pickens because of what he said. And, oh, look at the last receivers that did that. La la la, go your own way. My guys, you don't need to be dragging him. You need to be dragging Matt Canada. Blame Canada. Blame Canada.
They were doing that earlier, and then they stopped for some reason, because all of a sudden, he looks a little better now. No, guys, it's still pretty shit.
No, it's still shit.
Kenny Pickett actually has enough of an arm to be throwing to Pickens. We saw that last year.
Yes,
why are we not doing that?
We've seen it a couple of times this year. You need to be looking at a bigger deep game. But apparently Matt Canada doesn't want to do that. Oh, look, we're going to run it off tackle.
We're going to run the ball. What are we going to do now?
We're going to run the ball.
What are we going to do now? Run the ball! Fucking hell.
All right. So we both got that wrong, as we both thought the Titans might come out over that. Dolphins at Chiefs.
Oh, man.
Oh, man, did we get that wrong. We both thought the Chiefs were on a downturn after the week they just had and everything else. Nope. Chiefs 21, Dolphins 14.
I will say, I have questions about that field, because people were slipping all over it.
And then they had the punt that hit the scoreboard.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think you need to.
I think there were some issues with that.
Yeah, but it's the first time they've used it, so that's to be expected.
Yeah, and it's also real grass too. If you didn't notice, that was
well. And I mean, we play on a lot of real grass fields over here, but
I think it's wetter there though.
It's wetter. They didn't have it quite. I don't think they had it quite the way that the NFL fields are. They tried really hard, but I think that this is a learning experience, and they'll get better at it. Yeah. But the first time you do something like that, you're like, oh.
So this is one of those situations where I don't necessarily blame the Dolphins. I think if this was a different field, there's a chance that would have been closer. Especially that last play, like that was an unfortunate way to end that game.
Yes. I will say.
Not that the Chiefs didn't play well. They did.
Tua Tagovailoa, 21 of 34, 193 yards and a touchdown. Mostert, 12 carries, 85 yards and a touchdown. Tyreek Hill, 8 receptions, only 62 yards. Mahomes, 20 of 30, 185 yards and 2 touchdowns. Pacheco, 16 carries, 66 yards. And Gray, 3 receptions, 34 yards. That just tells me that when he got the ball out, because he didn't have a lot of yards, Mahomes spread it around.
He did, yep.
Yep, and that was the whole point. McKinnon had the really nice 17-yard reception. Rice also had an 11-yard reception for a touchdown. The big one was the 59-yard fumble return from Brian Cook. Raheem Mostert had a really nice couple of runs, though. So, I mean, the game itself wasn't...
It wasn't bad. No, not at all.
It wasn't bad at all. It was pretty good.
It was just some unfortunate... You just saw some unfortunateness once in a while, where you're like, if the field would have been a little better, that might not have happened.
All right. Vikings.
It was a good game that could have been great. That's all I'm going to say.
Vikings at Falcons, and we have feelings about this.
Can we save that for last? Because I have a lot of things to talk about.
Sure. Let's move that to the end of the broadcast. So we'll move right along. Seahawks at Ravens. We both picked the Ravens. We were both correct.
And it was a stomping, too.
Oh, my God.
The Ravens shit all over Geno Smith.
37-3. I think somewhere the Ravens just ran for another touchdown.
Yeah, probably.
Geno Smith, 13 of 28, 157 yards and a pick. Walker the third killed my fantasy team. 9 carries, 16 yards. God damn it.
I could have told you not to play him, but
I didn't have anybody else.
Oh, you
literally, I had to scramble
to find. Were the other guys on bye or something?
Yes. 3/4 of my team was on a bye this week. Like the Niners, because I had the Niners and Jacksonville and.
See, I shit all over my opponent this week.
A-Chain is hurt and.
I crapped all over my opponent this week, so.
Oh, I got.
I was worried about it because I had to put in both Nico Collins and Tank Dell. Turns out that was a good thing.
Tank Dell was amazing. I'm glad I
left
him in.
So was Nico Collins. Nico Collins had basically everyone that was on the Texans did good.
Except Pierce.
Yeah, they're not... I don't know if it's because of the change in system, but they're not really running the ball as much.
Yeah, and he doesn't look as good as he did last year, so... No. Definitely not a viable fantasy starter anymore.
Unfortunately, yeah.
Anyway, Jackson Smith and Jigba, 6 receptions, 63 yards. Lamar Jackson, 21 of 26, 187 yards. I don't even know who Mitchell is, but Keaton Mitchell. Keaton.
Mm-hmm.
Keaton Mitchell would go 9 carries, 138 yards, and a touchdown. They had no answer. Also, is it Gus Edwards? He didn't have as many yards, but he scored 2 touchdowns.
I will say this, I was a little surprised to see Zay Flowers kind of missing, but with how much rushing they had, they really need to.
And then Mark Andrews, 9 receptions, 80 yards. Yeah. I mean, the Baltimore defense obliterated the Seahawks.
Didn't Odell finally get a touchdown, too?
Huh?
Didn't Odell get a touchdown, or was that last week?
He didn't throw any touchdowns this week, so it must have been last.
Oh, must have been last week. My bad. Moving on.
Moving along. You know what's funny? The 49ers had the week off, and their entire division scored 6 points.
Didn't the 49ers also take back first in their division too?
By having a week off.
Oh, man. I'm sure they're like, hey, we may have lost 3 games in a row, but at least we're not as bad as these shitters.
And yet, they still slipped out of my top 10. Spoilers.
Oh, they're still barely in my top 10.
I had to pull them this week.
They're right at the edge of my top 10, basically.
They'd be number 11 or 12 on mine. So they're right there. But
I don't remember. I know they're at the bottom 3, if I remember right.
But...
Oh, wait,
yeah,
nope.
no.
Maybe it's bottom. It's the bottom. It's definitely towards the bottom, though.
They slipped out on mine entirely. Because I just think there are better teams.
There's definitely better teams, but, like...
It's who's playing better right now. That's the problem. Is they got passed because they didn't have a week this week. I have a feeling they'll be back in next week. But
well, I was going to say, I actually have a pretty good feeling you and I are going to have vastly different top 10s based on the sound of it. So
possibly.
Compared to last week, this might be more interesting then. Because last week we were almost identical for a lot of it.
That was funny. So, moving along. Cardinals at Browns. We both picked the Browns. We were both correct. The Cardinals scored 0 points.
Yeah, that was an easy one.
Oh, yeah. Deshaun Watson threw 2 touchdown passes. So Clayton Tune, 11 of 20, 58 yards and 2 picks.
Yeah.
Rushing yards, Clayton Tune, 5 carries, 28 yards.
I mean, it's a rookie. He hadn't played at all. I mean, like...
Marquise Brown, 4 receptions, 24 yards.
All I'm going to say is, what do you expect? Like, there's no way anyone thought they were going to win that game.
No, but he also got sacked 7 times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the only reason I think Josh Dobbs worked in that system is because he had wheels to move out enough.
Deshaun Watson, 19 of 30 for 219 yards and 2 touchdowns. Ford, 20 carries, 44 yards. Amari Cooper, 5 receptions, 139 yards and a touchdown. Yeah, the defense just ate the Cardinals. The Browns defense is going to drag them into the playoffs regardless of what their offense does.
Oh, probably. That's what it seems like.
Yeah, that's what they're going to be a defensive-minded team that makes the playoffs, which means they're probably going to make it out of the first round and then get whomped in the second. Which,
by the way, is really weird to think about when you realize their head coach is an offensive coordinator. Like, it's...
Right?
It seems a little weird, ass backwards, but at the same time, like, it's not that their offense is bad either, to be fair. Like, their offense is decent.
Yes. All right. Fun game. You ready for a fun game?
Sure, why not?
One of the ones we split on.
Oh, yeah.
Buccaneers at Texans.
Oh, God, that was such a good game.
Yes, it
had
was.
No right to be as good as it was.
I picked the Buccaneers. You picked the Texans. You were correct. The Texans win 39-37. Yeah. Freaking C.J. Stroud.
C.J. fucking Stroud, dude. This, I remember at the beginning of the year when I said C.J. Stroud was going to statistically be better than Bryce Young. I'm pretty sure I got that fucking nail right on the head, goddammit. Like,
I honestly
he broke all the fucking rookie records. Most rookie touchdowns and most rookie yards by a QB. Like, come on.
I think you undersold it. He's only thrown 1 interception all year.
Yeah, dude, the guy is... The Texans got their boy. That's all I'm saying. They got their
30 of 42, 470 yards.
Fucking ridiculous.
5 touchdowns. Singletary, 13 carries, 26 yards. Nico Brown, 6 receptions, 153 yards, and a touchdown. And then Tank Dell, 6 catches, 114 yards, and 2 touchdowns. And Dalton Schultz, 10 catches, 130 yards, and a touchdown. Or there was Noah Brown. Nico Collins, 3 for 54 and a touchdown.
Oh, and then let's not forget to talk about what I can't remember his name. Ogunbowale? I think is how you say his name.
I think so.
Fucking running back who had to come in and play kicker for their kicker.
Yes.
And actually made a field goal. Like, come on. That's a dope-ass story. Like, come on. And he had 2 kickoffs, one of which actually went in the end zone. Like,
is everyone third string running back?
Third string running back. Second string kicker. Like, come on, that's just a fun story. I don't care what anyone
Baker,
says.
21 of 30, 265, and 2 touchdowns. White, 20 carries, 73 yards, 2 touchdowns. And Mike Evans, 4 for 87. Look, it was not a bad game. It was a very good game. It was very close, and literally won in the final 6 seconds of the game. Yeah. It was a back and forth slugfest, and it was so much fun to watch. That game was really good. Really good. I did not expect the Texans to be playing on this level, but I was wrong. Apparently, they are that good this year.
That's the crazy part too. Just imagine another year. Oh God. The Texans are actually good. Right. And they're going to be good. Like I think next year they're going to be competing for playoffs easy.
Bears at Saints.
This was good for the first half, and then the second half got really ugly.
Yes. This was a really good game for the first half of the game, and then it got like the Bears just kind of fell apart.
Yeah.
So, we both picked the Saints to win. We were both correct. Saints win 24-17. Bagent looked really good at the beginning of the game.
He did. He actually looked really, really solid.
His final stats, 18 of 30, 220 yards, 2 touchdowns, 3 picks.
Oh, and 2 fumbles.
And 2 fumbles.
Yeah, when you turn over the ball 5 times, that's
you're a non-option, my dude.
I think Bagent still has the chance, but it's still very clearly, if you watch, especially some of what happened, like, still very rookie, very green. He's got the ability. He just needs to learn the defense systems a little better.
Yeah, I think so. He needs to learn how to take care of the ball a little better.
Yep.
D'Onta Foreman, 20 carries, 83 yards. Darnell Mooney, 5 receptions, 82 yards. Carr, 25 of 34, 211 yards, 2 touchdowns. Taysom Hill, 11 carries, 52 yards. Chris Olave, 6 receptions, 46 yards, and a touchdown.
You know, I'm not going to say it's coincidence, but it's really funny that, you know, twice now Taysom Hill has a good game and the Saints happen to win.
You know, it's really funny that twice now he's led them in rushing yards and they've won.
And they win, yeah. It's crazy, weird,
right?
Just use Taysom Hill more. That sounds like the winning strategy.
Alrighty, ones that we both. This one we both blew hardcore. Rams at Packers.
Oh yeah.
We both picked the Rams. We shouldn't have done that.
To be fair, we didn't know. To be fair, we both argued that it depends on who the QB was.
We did, and we both hoped it would be Stafford, and it was not. It was Brett Rippon.
Yeah.
Packers win 20-3. They actually scored in the second quarter.
So I'll say this: the Packers may have won, but they didn't exactly look great doing it. To be fair, like they looked okay. They didn't look great though.
Brett Rippon, 13 of 28, 130 yards and a pick. Freeman, 12 carries, 32 yards. Cooper Kupp, 2 catches, 48 yards. Yeah, Jordan Love had probably his best game at quarterback this season.
Probably.
20 of 26, 228 yards and a touchdown. Aaron Jones, 20 carries, 73 yards and a touchdown. Luke Musgrave, 3 catches, 51 yards and a touchdown. Packers snap a 4-game skid. Rams, we thought you had something there at the beginning of the season, but you have quickly tumbled and tumbled hard.
Yeah, without Stafford, you're pretty much done.
And who knows how long he's going to be out. Yeah.
And now you're trying to get Wentz in there. I don't know. I feel like your season might be almost. You're teetering at the season being pretty much done.
Yeah, you're teetering on the edge of a done season. Commanders at Patriots.
Hey.
I believe, yes, you picked the Commanders. I picked the Patriots. Commanders win 20-17.
Hell yeah.
It was a close game though.
It was. It was a close game.
Yeah. Howell, 29 of 45, 325 yards, a touchdown and a pick. Robinson Jr., 18 carries, 63 yards and a touchdown. Scary Terry, 5 receptions, 73 yards. Mac Jones, 24 of 44, 220 yards and a touchdown and an interception. Ramondre Stevenson finally showed why he was Ramondre Stevenson. 9 carries, 87 yards, and a touchdown, and all of that yardage came on basically one play, 64 yards.
As much as I liked that, Stevenson needs to be more consistent on the ground. Like, it's great that he can get one of those big runs off on occasion, but, like, when you have 12 more running plays for, like, 15 yards, that ain't it, boy.
No, he only ran 9 times.
Yeah, okay, sorry. The other 8 times for 15 yards.
The other 8 carries, so 64, 87, yeah, something like that.
It's still not good enough.
No. And then Douglas, 5 receptions, 55 yards. I don't even know who that is.
Rasul, what?
D. Douglas.
Oh.
Demario Douglas.
Demario Douglas. I feel like I've heard the name, but not a staple by any means.
Yeah, no, 5 receptions, 55 yards or something. Juju, 6 for 51. Stevenson, 4 for 42. Hunter Henry, 4 for 39. Yeah, they are definitely feeling the loss of some of the other players that they have lost.
Oh, 100%,
yeah. Yeah. Moving right along. Colts at Panthers. I picked the Panthers. You picked the Colts. You trounced me again. I thought maybe the Panthers, after winning the game, had something going, and the Colts, well, maybe. Who knows?
There's still question marks, but I didn't have any faith in the Panthers.
27-13, Colts beat the Panthers.
Still have no faith in the Panthers after that.
Gardner Minshew, 17-26, 127 yards and a touchdown. JT, 18 carries, 47 yards. Pittman, 8 receptions, 64 yards.
Young looked bad in this game, too.
So where did all the points come from? Mostly from field goals. But also from Young, because he went 24 of 39 for 173 yards, 1 touchdown, and 3 interceptions.
One of them, I think, was a pick 6.
2 of them were pick 6s.
Yeah.
2 of them. Kenny Moore the second had both of them.
I feel like if the Panthers could go back and switch their pick to Stroud, they would.
I agree with you at this point. Chuba Hubbard, 16 carries, 58 yards. Hurst, 2 receptions, 54 yards. I also feel like if they could go back and not sign Miles Sanders, they would.
Yeah. I'm glad I traded him off my team after that happened, because...
Use that cap space elsewhere, because Chuba Hubbard is definitely the guy you should have been starting.
Hubbard's the guy, yeah.
Yep. All right, Giants at Raiders.
Oh my god, the Raiders finally won a game!
The Raiders get rid of their coach. I don't remember if we got to mention that last time.
No, we didn't. I don't think we mentioned it.
So, we'll talk about it here. Josh McDaniels got fired. F-I-R-E-D, fired.
Also, I'm not saying that, I put him in my Inferno and the next day he got fired, but that is what happens, so.
And the players had a giant meeting with them, the coaching staff, everybody, and basically the whole locker room and coaching staff revolted against McDaniels.
Yeah. He partially did that. Well, not partially. He all did that to himself.
He did that to himself.
Even his most loyal of players were like, fuck this guy.
So, what actually happened afterwards is the linebackers coach is now the head coach. Oh, the GM also got canned.
The GM also got canned, yep.
The GM also got canned. And so what actually happened? Well, they sat Jimmy G, and they started Aiden O'Connell.
And he looked really good.
So, you know what? Roll with it, Raiders.
I think that's what they're going to do. They're just going to roll with... Now, the question is, are the Raiders going to make the same mistake they did last year? Or the last time they had to hire a new coach? Rather than... Because let's be honest, remember there was that whole interim coach that they had after they got rid of...
No.
He was good. They should have just kept him. They didn't. They signed McDaniels. Are they going to do it again? Are they going to fuck it up again and have a coach they should hire as their head coach and then hire somebody else?
I certainly fucking hope
not. They better not make the same fucking mistake
twice.
Because
if this guy winds up... Now, I want to see how he plays out for the rest of the season.
I think was it Bisaccia who it was before?
Yeah, Rich Bisaccia.
If nothing else, if they go and get him as the coach, they should have done that the first time. They should have just brought him in and be like, you're the coach now.
Yeah, but even if they keep the guy they currently have, if the guy they currently have does really well the rest of the season and puts them in the playoffs... That's who you need to be keeping as your coach.
100%.
100%. So, stats. Tommy DeVito as
He ain't it.
Yeah, no, but our poor quarterback blew out his ligament, his ACL.
We need to play somebody.
15 of 20, 175 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 picks. Saquon, 16 carries, 90 yards. Slayton, 4 receptions, 59 yards. Now, Aiden O'Connell, 16 of 25, 209 yards. Pretty good.
He looked pretty good.
26 carries, 98 yards, 2 touchdowns for Jacobs. And Tucker, 2 catches for 52 yards. However, I do believe the guy who was targeted the most was Devontae Adams, who caught 4 balls out of 7 for 34 yards. Jacoby Myers targeted 5 times, caught 2 of them for 38 yards.
By the way, did you see the locker room video after they won the game? They looked
happy,
ecstatic.
So, and this is something I'm
going to give... in comparison to the locker rooms in the past, like they clearly are in a much better place without McDaniels.
I'm going to give credit to Rich Eisen, because I was watching some stuff he said. Happiness and joy in playing football, while not a measurable stat, is definitively a stat that affects football.
It does, yeah.
And because they were talking about with the other McDaniel, the one down in Miami now.
Oh, yeah.
Mike McDaniel.
Mike McDaniel, yep.
When he came in, the first thing he asked is, how's everyone doing? Y'all okay?
Yeah.
And nobody knew how to relate because, no offense to Brian Flores, but he comes from that Patriot system, which is very disciplined.
Yep.
And you don't get that close to people. So when he came in and asked that, like, nobody knew how even to respond or answer. But you can definitively see that they play happy football now. The Patriots play joyless football, and they're losing.
Also, another good example, look at the Vikings with KOC. People love to play for that guy.
Yeah.
They're happy playing with him. They like him. Brian Flores might be the DC, and that works because he doesn't have to be the coach that has to be happy, giddy all the time. He just has to be the
that's where KOC
hard-nosed DOC. That's where KOC's job is.
Now, there are some coaches that are like that, but what they tend to do is hire
other guys,
assistant coaches and coordinators that can be...
Great example, Ron Rivera. He's a hard nose. He's not a guy who's going to be super smiley. But Eric Bieniemy seems like just a fun dude to be around. Like
the guy that I was going to bring up was Herb Brooks.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Herb Brooks, the old hockey coach, coach Team USA. He hired on Craig Smith, Craig Daniel, whatever the assistant coach's name was. He literally told him, he said, hey, you're going to have to be attached to these guys' hips because I'm not here to be their dad. I'm here to be a coach. You are here to be their big brother and their dad. That's what I need you to do. And so, like, Herb just wasn't his thing to do that. That was where Craig came in. And you know what? Everybody respected Herb. They liked Craig. And that was the difference. If you hire people that are personable beneath you, one, you have to be able to take... When they approach you with, hey, this is what's going on in the locker room, you have to fucking listen, for one thing.
Yeah.
And for the other thing is, you have to let them do their jobs.
Exactly.
And if you aren't willing to let them do their jobs, don't hire them and you shouldn't be a head coach.
Exactly. Something that the Raiders now learned about McDaniels, and I think hopefully everyone in the NFL finally learned because, the Broncos shit didn't work, so why the fuck would you do it again?
Well, you hope that he's older and wiser. Nope.
Fuck no.
Nope. Hadn't learned shit.
I think his head coaching jobs are done. I don't think he gets even another chance. Not unless he's all of a sudden 50 years old.
Stop stealing my potatoes.
Sorry.
You do it every time. At least once a week, you take one of the potatoes I have and you preload it for me.
I'm sorry, I'm just speaking my mind.
See, this tells you how in tune we are. All right, moving along. Cowboys at Eagles. I picked the Cowboys. You picked the Eagles. You were correct. I was wrong. I don't think I got one of these right this week.
You didn't. You didn't win any of the splits.
No, I didn't. I lost every single split this week. Holy shit.
I will say that game was really close. It literally came down to the wire.
Yes, it did. 23-28, the Eagles win and defeat the Cowboys. Dak Prescott, 29 of 44, 374, 3 touchdowns. Tony Pollard, 12 carries, 51 yards. CeeDee Lamb, 11 receptions, 191 yards. Jalen Hurts, 17 of 23, 207 yards, 2 touchdowns. DeAndre Swift, 18 carries, 43 yards. And A.J. Brown finally loses his streak of games with over 125 yards receiving. He only has 7 for 66 and a touchdown in this game. Which, that's some kind of miracle right there.
Right.
But yeah, this game was very close. Came down to the very end of the game. Almost won by Dallas.
Mm-hmm.
Not quite enough.
Though that last drive was weird.
Yeah, a little suspect there.
I got thoughts on that. We'll talk about that later.
Are you going to drag the refs again?
No, actually. I got somebody else I'm going to drag, and you're going to probably be shocked by it. So we'll get there.
Are you going to drag the league?
We'll get there.
Okay. Bills at Bengals. We both picked the Bengals. We were both correct. Bengals win 24-18 over the Bills. Improved to 5-3 on the year, sending the Bills to 5-4. Josh Allen, 26 of 38, 258 yards, a touchdown, and a pick. He also ran 8 times for 44 yards and a touchdown. Diggs, 6 catches, 86 yards, and a touchdown. Joe Burrow, 31 of 44, 348 yards, and 2 touchdowns. I'm sure that helped your fantasy team.
It did.
Mixon, 14 carries, 37 yards, and a touchdown. T. Higgins, 8 receptions, 110 yards. That did help me. Yeah. Overall, Bengals absolutely laid the lumber to the Bills in this game.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, the Bills tried, but the Bengals they are reloaded and ready to go now.
I told you last week, remember, the Bengals are finally hit that midpoint of the season just like they did last year. They're making the run just like they did last year. It's what they do, apparently.
It is apparently what they do. All right, and Chargers at Jets. I picked the Jets, you picked the Chargers. I couldn't have gotten this more wrong if I tried.
Nope.
Chargers win 27-6. Both teams drop to 4-4. Herbert, 16 of 30, 136 yards. Eckler, 14 carries, 47 yards, 2 touchdowns. Allen, 8 receptions, 77 yards. Wilson, 33 of 49, 263 yards. That stat looks good until you see the throws that he missed that would have turned the game for them.
Mm-hmm.
Hall, 16 carries, 50 yards, and Wilson, 7 receptions for 80 yards. I mean, part of the problem is the Jets' offensive line was abysmal because Wilson got sacked like 7 times. And Bosa, they caused at least 1 fumble. Bosa knocked the ball out and then fell on it. Yeah, I mean, just from the word go. What the hell is he doing?
Don't know. He's being weird. He's rubbing his face on my nose.
Loki, what are you doing?
He's scratching himself, apparently. I'm his scratching post right now.
Oh, your nose is his scratching post?
Yep.
Alrighty then. But yeah, it was not a good game for the Jets. They unfortunately they couldn't block that defensive front for the Chargers. And the Jets' offensive line is a war crime right now.
It is.
Now, final game of the week. Vikings at Falcons. We both picked the Falcons, and I don't think we've ever been more happy to be wrong.
It was a close game, but I am happy I'm wrong.
It was a close game. Vikings win 31-28 thanks to a touchdown with 22 seconds left in the game from Joshua Dobbs to Brandon Powell. who, by the way, that was an amazing catch.
He had to go way up for
it. Oh,
it.
yeah, he climbed the ladder for that sucker.
Mm-hmm.
I got nothing but respect for that. Also, before we get into this game, let's talk about the fun stuff first.
There's a lot of stuff I want to talk about.
I want to talk about the really fun thing first.
So for anybody
here who doesn't know, Joshua Dobbs has a 4-year degree from the University of Tennessee, in which he has a degree in aerospace engineering.
Boy, he's fucking smart.
Which also means he could work for NASA. So NASA decided that they were going to...
Actually, he's interned twice for NASA, by the way.
He has interned for NASA. There you go. He could actually have a full-time job with NASA, but he prefers to play football. When he's done, he will probably go to NASA.
Probably.
So they have granted him a nickname. The Pastronaut.
The Pastronaut.
Okay, Vikings, I know none of you watch this channel from anybody anywhere. You gotta make that shirt happen.
Somehow, some way, make it happen.
Make it happen. The Pastronaut shirt? Hell yeah.
It will sell like hotcakes, I promise.
Oh yeah, everybody in Minneapolis is gonna buy one.
Oh yeah.
Alright. So, you want to talk now? Before I do stats?
Oh, let's just talk the ridiculousness of this game. So, we come in with Jaren Hall starting the game. Looking pretty okay, actually. Like, looking decent for... Looking better than people expected for the rookie QB. Almost makes it into the end zone. Gets fucking blasted to the ground. Like, just absolutely shellacked.
Oh, yeah. And he had one guy...
He was like, if you notice, he was like wobbly when he was getting up.
Helmet made contact with the side of his helmet, and then he came down into the ground, and much like...
And his head slammed.
Much like Richardson earlier this season, he took that bump right on the back of his head and his helmet.
It looked like one of those 201s from last year.
Like, yeah, dude, it was bad.
And he was even like getting up, and you could see him like wobbling when he was getting up and shit. And you're like, yeah, no, he's concussed.
Oh yeah.
So immediately we're like, oh no, Josh Dobbs has to go in. How long's he been there? Oh, 5 days. Has he had any reps? Fuck none. Has he even seen the playbook? Fuck no. Like literally, they were on the sideline. He was on the sideline with the O-line, practicing his cadence with them just a couple of times before going in, just so they knew his fucking
Just so they knew his cadence count.
Like, and this boy came out of fucking nowhere. I'll tell you what, the first
couple
drives, rough as shit, especially the very first one, safety, oof.
Yeah.
But he slowly got back into it, started throwing really good, started moving with his legs, and turns out KOC was in his ear going, okay, this is what we're playing. This is the play that you're doing. Okay, now that you know the play, look to your right. That's this player. Look to your left. That's this player. These are the routes that they're doing.
He was like, look to your right. That's Jordan. He's going to be running this route. Look to your left. That's this player. He's going to run this route. And all right, your tight end's going to run a button hook.
Yep, and apparently he straight up told him several times, if you don't like what you see, just use your legs. Just use your legs. If you don't like what you see, just run with the ball. And you know what? It works. He's got wheels. He can move.
I think and
I respect it.
My favorite statement came out after the game when somebody asked him about all of it, and he said, I don't even know all of their names. That's for next week. I'm just happy to win this week.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I think, I'll be honest, I was a little upset with the trade. I'm still a little concerned about certain things, but I will say this. If nothing else, he definitely can operate the offense and efficiently. And I think he'll be able to learn that playbook relatively quickly, being that we know that like the one thing he pointed out when people asked him, like, you think the fact that you're an astrophysicist, like, help at all? And he just basically went, listen, like, obviously this isn't rocket science. I'm not actually doing rocket science with football. But he's like, but the ability to cram and the ability to study and be able to do that quickly, yeah, that probably does help. That ability to be able to quickly learn on the fly does help. And I think that's true. I think he will absolutely be able to learn the playbook relatively quickly. I mean, look what he did with the Cardinals. He did the same thing there. He was able to quickly learn the playbook and do pretty decently for a really bad team. Now he's on a pretty good team around him. Honestly, I could see him still managing a middling season with this team, potentially even more depending on how things go.
Yeah, I was a little worried at first, but watching him play, I'm like, woo.
Because what he proved to me is that he can throw the ball. It looks good. He throws it into the windows where he can, and if he can't, he's got enough leg to get out of the pocket and move on his own more than Kirk does.
Oh God, there was that one run that he had where I thought he was going to be sacked, and he
there was that fourth down conversion that he had. That I was like, there is no way he should have had that. And I'm like, damn.
And then the one that he ran up the sideline and he hurdled that fucker.
Oh yeah, he made it to the first down. Yeah. So the one thing I will say about that is, I don't think we'll get too many repeats of that, because here's the thing. The defense was obviously not prepared to have Josh Dobbs play and be mobile the way he was. So they basically had almost no QB spies on him most of the time. So it was easy enough for him to find a way out. Going into the future games, I promise you, defense is going to be like QB spy. We cannot let him get out on the field and move.
Exactly.
But that also means that he should be able to throw the ball more.
One less guy in coverage.
So we'll see. That might be interesting. And based on the fact that we have Jefferson coming back, you have 3 guys that you have to cover all the time, and somehow QB spy them.
Hawkinson, Addison, Jefferson, and let's not forget when he comes back.
And if KJ comes back. Yeah. Yep. So, the offense is scary, and that defense is playing pretty damn good the further in the season we're going. The more games we play, that defense is looking better and better. It's interesting. It's an interesting system. We'll see how next week goes, but I like what I saw from him, and if he can do that basically day one without any practice, I'm curious to see what he looks like with a week's of practice.
I am 100% curious to see what he looks like with next week's practice.
Yeah.
100% curious. Stat-wise, Dobbs, 20 of 30, 158 yards, 2 touchdowns, 7 carries, 66 yards, and 1 touchdown. That's the only thing that worries me, is we still can't run the football.
No.
Hawkinson.
No, I will say this. I will say this. Madison probably had a better running performance this game than we've seen in a while. Still wasn't great, but he was able to pick up the short yard first down.
Yeah, there were a couple in there where I was like, oh, okay, look, there he is.
Yeah.
I will also say that as much as I mourn the loss of Cam Akers, whatever those pants were that he wore was that was a fashion choice, my dude.
I don't know if it was a fashion choice.
I don't know if it was a good one, but it was a fashion choice, certainly.
You know what? The football gods went, those are ugly as sin. Blow your fucking Achilles, motherfucker.
Oh, Jesus, we're horrible. TJ Hawkinson, 7 catches, 69 yards. Heineke, 21 of 38, 268, a touchdown and a pick. They have stated that they're going to keep rolling with Heineke. Also, Arthur Smith shaved off his mustache.
Because reasons.
Bijan Robinson, 11 carries, 51 yards.
Why aren't they using him more? Does anyone... I think everyone under the sun is going, why aren't they giving the ball more to Bijan? And no one can answer that fucking question for us.
You know who could? Arthur Smith.
And you won't.
He won't.
Every time people have asked him, he just goes, I'm refraining from answering that question. Like, he just refuses to answer anything about Bijan.
Jonnu Smith, though, 5 receptions, 100 yards, and a touchdown. He also had that ridiculously long 60-yarder from Heineke. But yeah. So that's the final game of the week. We're both pretty excited about the Vikings.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to put it. Like, I'm not down on it like I was last week, but I'm like, I don't know if excited is right. I'm a little optimistic. I'm curious to see what we get.
Curious, and I'm slightly excited because if it works out, that could be fun to watch.
If nothing else, I was going to say, if nothing else, Josh Dobbs was kind of fun to watch.
So if nothing else, it'll be fun to watch.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Let us go ahead and move along. You can see the scores that I'll put up over here where I am absolutely being obliterated now for the season. I'm going to have a really good week this week if I hope to catch up.
Well, you kicked my teeth in last year, so I guess it's only fair.
Yo, I did kick your teeth in last year. This year, however, you're kicking my teeth right back down my throat, so turnabout is fair play. All right. Let's start with the Thursday night game, and this is going to be an abysmal train wreck.
Oh, no.
Panthers at Bears.
Bears defense might be a little better, so I'll go Bears, and I don't like it.
I'll also go Bears, but it's only because I've actually seen the Bears actually do really good winning things, and the Panthers just keep finding ways to lose.
Also, do we know if Fields is playing yet or not? Because they showed that he was practicing, but with a glove on. I don't know if they've announced who's actually starting.
I don't know if they have yet or not either. What I will say is that they're going to be motivated to beat the Panthers because it only makes their draft position better.
It actually does, actually.
Saints at Vikings.
Oh, Vikings. I'm taking Vikings.
I'm taking the Vikings, too. Look, the Saints' defense is good, but they're playing in Minneapolis, the home of the Minneapolis Miracle. Josh Dobbs, pastronaut for the Miracle. Shoot for the stars, baby.
Why not?
Colts at Patriots.
Colts. I have no faith in the Patriots right now.
I have none, not whatsoever. Here should be a good game. Texans at Bengals.
So I would love to pick the Texans here, but they played a team that I don't think is defensively that great in the Bucks last week, and I think the Bengals defense is just a little better here. I think the Bengals offense is a little better. It's going to be hard to go against the Bengals on this, and I'm going to pick the Bengals, but it's going to be a good game, I think.
I agree with you. Packers at Steelers.
That's actually going to be probably a bad game as well, but I'm going to go Steelers because I don't think the Packers are going to do much against that defense.
I will as well. They're away from Lambeau. That's the primary reason for me. They're also facing a much better defense.
A much better defense.
Here's a fun one, though. Titans at Bucks.
Ooh. It depends on which Bucks show up too. Like if we get last week's Bucks, I think they win. But if we get the week before Bucks, I think the Titans win. Bucks defense isn't stellar. They're just okay. I think could go either way, but I think I'm gonna go Titans.
I will also go Titans because I like Will Levis.
Fair enough.
This is another fun one, and I don't know how this one would turn out, but it's going to be a slugfest. Browns at Ravens.
I think the Ravens are going to do that because, like, as good as the Browns' defense is, the Ravens' offense is just in a whole other.
You know what? I'm going to take the Browns.
All right.
I just want to be different.
No, that's fine.
Another fun game. Niners at Jags. Both coming off a bye week.
So normally, if we would have been like a week or two ago, I might have picked the 49ers, but they are on a slump. They are coming out of a bye, which means that they could be more ready, but I'm actually going to go Jags here.
I will take the Niners.
It's a big game for the Jags. They really do need to win this, though.
Falcons at Cardinals.
I'm going to do something weird. I'm not going to pick the Cardinals just because Kyler Murray's probably going to play.
You know what? I'll take the Falcons, sure.
Like, if it wasn't for Kyler, it'd be Falcons all day long. But yeah, I think Kyler can do enough offensively.
The reason I'm going to take the Falcons is because Kyler's just now coming back. He's going to have to knock that rust off.
No, I agree. It's a risk, but I have a feeling he's going to be ready to rip it to prove that he's the deal, you know?
Lions at Chargers.
You know, normally I pick the Chargers in a lot of situations, but this is not one of them. The Lions are probably going to beat the Chargers.
I will go with you on that. This next one, I'm just going to mark you down for being on the Cowboys side because it's Giants at Cowboys, and we already know how that one's going to go.
I don't like the Cowboys, but they're definitely going to win that game.
Commanders at Seahawks.
Seahawks look pretty bad, but the Commanders don't have their edges anymore. So
no, but they still won it against New England.
Yeah, but New England isn't as nearly as good as the Seahawks are right now. The Seahawks look pretty bad, but that's because they got beat up defensively. Hmm. I think I'll go Seahawks. I think Seahawks should win that game.
I agree with you. Jets at Raiders.
Oh, you know what? Why not? I'll jump on the Raiders train for this game. Why not?
Me too. Raiders train all the way. Broncos at Bills.
The Bills aren't playing that well, but the Broncos are so much worse, so it's definitely the Bills.
I agree. So we only split on a few games. Falcons, Cardinals, Niners, Jags, Browns, Ravens.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the only games we split on. So we're either going to be really right or we're going to be really wrong.
Really wrong, yeah.
Alrighty. Power rankings first, or do you want to do showers, game balls, and all of that first?
I'm cool with either option, honestly. I'm not too picky.
All right, let's start with game balls. I like game balls.
Okay.
Game balls.
You want to go first, or me go first?
You can go first.
Josh Dobbs have a game ball.
That's why I put extras on my list, is because I knew Dobbs was going to be in there for you. Joe Burrow, game ball.
Fair enough. C.J. Stroud, fucking game ball, my guy.
Sam Howell, game ball.
Fair enough. Dare Ogunbowale, just because that's just an awesome story. Get the game ball.
Chargers defense as a whole, game ball.
That's fair.
When you sack a guy 7 times. Like, I could have given it to the Browns defense, but, you know, Chargers defense has been more maligned this season.
Yeah, they finally had a really good game.
All right, hit the showers. I'll start.
All right.
Will Levis, you played well. You threw that pick at the end of the game. Hit the showers, cool off. You'll be back. You're going to be great.
Justin Herbert, you won the game, but 16-30 with no TDs, not good enough. Go hit the showers.
Kenneth Walker III. What the fuck was that? Go hit the showers.
Geno Smith, I know that's not entirely your fault, but you still didn't look very good, my guy. Hit the showers.
I don't even remember why I put this guy in here.
Was it the hit?
I don't think so.
Oh.
I need to figure out who this is now.
I put somebody in here, and I don't remember why.
Oh, no, now I know who it is. Bryce Young. My dude, go hit the showers. For some reason, my brain wasn't registering that was the first overall pick.
Jeez.
Tells
Tua
me everything.
Tagovailoa, you didn't have a great game. Go hit the showers, my guy. Like, we know you can do better.
Alrighty. Inferno time?
Sure.
Alright, you can start.
Alright, I'm going to go in descending order. In the first circle, even though you won a game, Jordan Love, you ain't it, my guy. You ain't it.
Brandon Staley. Welcome to the 6th circle.
But you won!
You won! It didn't look very good.
Offensively, anyways.
How the hell is that team that's loaded 4-4? You deserve to have your head cut off.
In the second circle, we have a brand new player that you're going to be like, why the fuck do you have this person in here, Chris? You fucking retard. But I don't care. I'm going to explain it anyways. Dak Prescott, you're in the second circle, and here's why. You always seem to shrink when you're needed the most in the big games. Why? What's going on? That's why you're in the second circle. It's not a huge deal, but it's always in the big games.
You know what he has? Primetime cousin syndrome.
Almost like a big games. He just always, and it's not even like the entire game. He always shrinks the very end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Matt Canada. Welcome to the 7th circle, my dude. You may have won, but God, you got to fix that passing game.
And of course, my classic old 7th circle, Bill Belichick. I don't even need to explain myself.
And my final one. This is a completely new individual, and I'm going to have to explain who it is.
No, okay.
Bear with me. Joe Shane. Welcome to the 8th circle. That is the GM of the New York City Giants. He's also the guy that signed the extension
That massive extension.
Rather than signing up Saquon, you signed up your quarterback, Daniel Jones, and that has not worked out well for you at all.
Wasn't it like a massive 5-year deal, too?
Yes. So you, my dude, have just effed the Giants.
Even you and I, when we saw that, it's like, yeah, you want a playoff game, but that's a bit ridiculous.
Yeah. Like, I could understand, like, a 2 or 3 year deal with less money. I'd be like, okay, well, now they're trying to figure out what they've got in him. It's a bridge deal to see if he's going to be any good.
But it's almost like they went, this is our franchise guy. Put all the money at him. And it's like, none of us ever thought that he was the franchise guy. I don't know why. Us.
Not the entire time we've watched him play. Like, I'd have had him play out this year on the fifth year of his contract without extending him, and just told him, hey, if you play well this year, your extension's coming. And then when he blew out his ACL, at least you're home free. I mean, it's a crappy business decision, but at least you could tank and go for Caleb and not be monetarily tied to Daniel Jones. Because now he's not going to be back until deep next season now.
Probably.
So you got to do something.
If they're lucky, the rehab goes really well and he's back by next season. But like, even then, I don't know. He just never looks that impressive enough for me for that contract. It was a bad decision.
I agree, 100%. That's why, Joe Schoen, you're in the 8th circle. Your tenure just started in 2022. And you're already on the hot seat, my dude.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Power rankings.
Do we want to do potatoes or power rankings?
Potatoes. Let's do potatoes.
Potatoes? Okay. You want to go first or me?
I'll start.
Okay.
This one I think you're going to eat right away, so I'm going to start with the mildest, easiest potato that'll go down ever.
Okay.
Maybe C.J. Stroud is the Rookie of the Year?
That's no question. Yeah,
I was also going to put it.
He's already the Rookie of the Year.
I was going to throw MVP on the end of that, but
that would have been a little bit of a stretch.
That's too spicy right now.
That's a little bit of a stretch.
There's a conversation to be had.
Rookie of the Year.
There's a conversation to be had about that.
Well, if he follows through with what my potato is, C.J. Stroud will drag the Texans to the playoffs.
No, I got to see more yet. Like,
because that would be the MVP on there.
I like Stroud. Don't get it twisted. The offense is going to score points. The defense is decent, but I don't know if they can stop some of the teams that they're going to have to play to get to the playoffs. Give them another year, though. Let them tool up that defense.
Absolutely, yeah.
Oh, my God. Next year, they're going to be so dangerous.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Maybe Josh McDaniels should never have another coaching job anywhere ever again?
Oh, yeah. I mean, we've already agreed on this already. Like, yeah, what the fuck?
Like I said, stop stealing my fucking potatoes.
Even when the Raiders hired him, I immediately went, but do you not remember what happened with the Broncos? That's bad decision. And turns out, what was it? Only 2 years in. He's less than 2 years gone. The Raiders like to make bad decisions. I know, it is what it is.
Yeah, apparently.
All right. For the next spicy potato, the Bills are gonna miss the playoffs.
Oh, I'll eat that. Look, something is off with Allen this year. I don't know what it is, but he's thrown a lot more interceptions than he has in the past, and he doesn't look right.
Something looks wrong.
Something is twistedly off. I don't know what it is, but something is off. But yeah, I think this is the year they miss the playoffs.
Yep.
I don't think the window is shut, but this is the year they miss the playoffs.
This is going to be the first year they miss in a while.
Yeah. Maybe the Vikings did a lot better at the trade deadline than we think?
We all know that they were searching for there was a different QBs that they had in mind.
Actually, it came out that they almost had a deal in place for Jameis Winston.
Yeah, and there was a couple others that were even on the block that they were looking at as well. I think they did fine coming out of the trade deadline. I think they could have done definitely better. They wanted other players. This happened to work out, and it's worked out so far in one game. It's only one game. We'll have to see how it goes. I mean, I don't want to necessarily eat the potato because it's also we don't have enough to go off of yet. but it's looking in that direction of this actually ended up being okay. So, I'll take the potato and I'm gonna hold on to it for a second. I'm not gonna quite eat it yet, but I'll hold on to the potato.
All right. Put it in the fridge.
I'm thinking about it.
All right. What you got for your last one for me?
And of course, the spiciest of spicy potatoes that I've dunked in complete hot sauce and have gone so far off the deep end that there's absolutely no reason you'll eat this potato whatsoever. The Vikings have found their new franchise quarterback.
No, I want to see more first. I'm not going to say that it's impossible. That is a nuclear potato, but
it's a very nuclear potato.
I want to see more first. Give me the rest of this season, and I can let you know.
Yeah.
Revisit this at the end of the season, and we'll talk.
Yep.
One game is not enough for me to anoint him. All right.
But it was an impressive first game.
It was a very impressive first game. All right. I have a hockey corner this week as well as power rankings. So we're going to start with the hockey corner, and I'll transition into the NHL power rankings, and then we'll end the podcast.
We still got to do our NFL power rankings.
Oh, wait. NFL power rankings first. You were correct. Thank you. I'm an idiot today.
Nah, it's all good.
All righty. You ready? I'll start.
Sure. Go ahead.
I'll start on the bottom. Number 10, the Cleveland Browns. Look, your defense is probably going to drag you further up this board. I will say that that Deshaun is starting to come around again. And
still not the old Deshaun that we knew, but
no, and even without your running back, you guys got a shot at this without Chubb. I don't like your shot at it. You probably make the playoffs, but I don't know that you go very deep. But this defense, whoo, Nelly, I haven't seen stuff like this since the old Ravens defense.
That's fair. At number 10, I don't care what anyone says. Fuck you. The Vikings are going in here. There's a lot of 5 and whatever teams in this, and the Vikings just happen to be right at the edge of that. And if I look at the games they have coming up, I think they have a real shot of staying in my top 10.
We'll see. Number 9, Cincinnati. The Bengals go right here. The two Ohio teams right next to each other. Look, you're probably going to shoot up this board fairly quickly if you keep playing like that. I am very, very happy that Joe Burrow is back. Joe Burrow go brrr.
Joe like, oh, it's cold? Brrr. No, fuck off. It's not that cold.
Yeah. So very happy to see Joe Burrow back to form. Your defense is starting to round into form. I think you guys have a real shot again at winning the division, even though you started and we all went, where are the old Bengals? What the fuck happened?
Number 9. This team has continued to drop off my board, and they're almost about to drop out of my top 10, depending on how next week goes. It's the Buffalo Bills. You guys are really shooting down my board real fucking fast. The fact you're still here, you should pray that you stay here, because if you lose next week, you ain't gonna be here no more.
If you guys lose next week, you will be out of mine as well. And that brings me to number 8, the Bills, for all the reasons you just said.
Fair enough. I got number 8, the Dallas Cowboys. And you guys are okay, but you've lost games, the big games that people want you to win, so I'm still kind of hesitant to bring you too much higher than this.
Fair enough. Number 7, the Detroit Lions. You didn't play this last week, so everything I've previously said about you still applies. The reason that you're here is because other teams, you kind of slid because there were a few teams that jumped you.
Funnily enough, at number 7, I also have the Lions. Originally, I had the 49ers here and went, yeah, they didn't play very good, so the Lions are going the Lions are going in here instead of the 49ers.
Fair enough. Number 6, the Dallas Cowboys. You almost beat the Eagles. You should have beat the Eagles, so that's why you're not higher. You win the games you're supposed to win, but you can't win the games that are close. I think that's going to be your downfall, guys.
Yep. Number 6, I have the Bengals. I have them a little higher on my list because I just have a feeling that it's exactly like I've been saying. Last season, they had a little rough patch. midway through the season, they got really good. It feels like we're repeating it.
And number 5, I have the Miami Dolphins. Look, guys, you did lose. You played hard. Like, I get it. Overseas, first time in that stadium. I'm cutting you a bit of a break by not dropping you further or anything. And I still think you're one of the best teams in the AFC.
Oh, yeah. Number 5, I have the Jaguars. You guys played really well. You're still a good team. You're in my top 5. Unfortunately, I just think the teams above you are just a step ahead of you at the moment.
Number four, I have the Jags. I think they're just a little bit ahead of the Finns, in my opinion. And it's only because the recent loss from the Finns and the Jags are neutral. But they have a shot to come out and win this week. Let's see what they can do with it.
Funnily enough, I have the Dolphins at 4. I think they're just a little better than the Jaguars right now. I think if you were to put them head to head, the Dolphins would more likely to win that game 10 times, probably 8 times out of 10 or something,
Number 3.
I think they're just a little better.
Number 3, the Baltimore Ravens. You guys are playing at a high level right now. Your defense reminds me of old Ravens defenses. Your offense is cooking with something right now. Todd Monken has that offense juiced up. I don't know what he added to you guys, but whatever it is, it's working.
Number 3, I have the Baltimore Ravens for all the same reasons.
Number 2, the Kansas City Chiefs. Look, you guys are back up here again. You beat the Dolphins. I'm going to mark that game at Denver off as an aberration because I'm going to say Mahomes was sick. And that's going to be my excuse. You guys are still number 2.
I have the Chiefs at 2 for the same reasons. So
that means we both have the same number 1 team, which is the Philadelphia Eagles.
Fuck you, Eagles!
We dislike the Eagles. But you keep winning. You probably shouldn't have won that game against Dallas, and yet you did anyway.
Yeah. I'm sick and tired of seeing them win games that are so close constantly. Like, goddamn. That's all I'm going to say about that.
Yeah.
Goddamn.
So that's our top 10 power rankings for the NFL this week. Come back next week. Let's see how they change. Now, moving into the NHL, for those of you who are puckheads, I have a hockey corner. And I have a question. Are the San Jose Sharks this year the worst team to ever lace up skates?
Seems a bit dramatic.
Well, let's talk about it. The San Jose Sharks have started this season 0-10-1. They have 1 point. They are currently on the largest goal differential through the first 10 games or 11 games of any team in history. They are currently at minus 43.
So they're doing pretty good then.
So, do you want to take a guess at what the worst season goal differential ever has been? You want to take a guess at that number?
I'm probably not going to get the closest number, so I'll just guess a close number that might be it. I would guess, if I want to be real mean, let's go like negative 65.
You'd have to add 200 to that number.
Jesus!
In 74-75, the expansion Washington Capitals were minus 265 goals.
My God.
Over a season.
I don't think there's any way the Sharks could get that bad. I don't know.
Actually, if you average out what they've scored this season versus how much they've been scored against, they are on pace to be minus 321.
I just don't see it happening.
No, I don't.
There's no way.
I don't either.
No way.
I would not say that minus 280 is out of the realm of possibilities.
Well, I don't know.
The way they are currently playing is abysmal. So the worst record of all time is 8-67-5 by, again, the 74-75 Washington Capitals. However, that is not the team with the most losses of all time. Can you guess the team with the most losses of all time?
No, probably not. But if I were to assume, it's probably like fucking the Coyotes or some shit.
No, it is the San Jose Sharks.
Of course it is.
92-93 Sharks with 71 losses. There was another team in 92-93 that had 70. Yeah.
They barely were the worst.
Yes. So this team is on pace to be even worse than that.
Again, I don't know. It feels unlikely to have a team stay that way. I mean, we'll have to see at the midway point, I think, for it to really know for sure. But this
I mean, the biggest problem is that they got rid of most of their best players. They've got like their best goalie is Kaapo Kähkönen, and I think he's like 860 or 870 something for his save percentage. It's just so looking at the Sharks cap as well. They were definitely planning to be bad. They weren't planning to be this bad, I don't think, because the problem is they only have 2 first-round picks this year, potentially 3, but also potentially only 1. It gets weird because both the picks that they could get currently, because they've got one from Pittsburgh that is a conditional pick. It's top 10 protected. So if that pick winds up in the top 10, Pittsburgh can push it to 2025. The Devils have given them a conditional second that becomes a first depending on what happens with Timo Meier. If he plays in so many games and they make the playoffs, etc., it can become a first. So it does look like the Penguins pick is going to be top 10 this year because they're also pretty abysmal this season. And it does look like Timo Meier is going to play in that percentage of Devils games that would move that to the first. So they're probably going to have a first this year. And then they're going to have an extra first in 2025 from the Penguins. Outside of that, they only have 1 round 2 this year, next year, and in 2026. They don't have a round 3 this year or 2026. They've got 1 round 4, and it's not even theirs. It's Vegas's. They've done a lot of stuff and moved a lot of stuff around, but they haven't done what like Arizona did, where they just accumulated draft capital at the yin-yang. So I think if I'm looking at this, this is the beginning. This is the absolute beginning of the teardown rebuild. So you're probably going to lose Thomas Hertl at some point, who is signed up to 7 years. He's the only guy that has a ridiculously long deal that is not on like an ELC. Because you have William Eklund, who's on an ELC, and he's got 3 years, and then he's a restricted free agent. You do have some defensemen that are signed up long-term, but again, none of those are going to be... The biggest one is Marc-Edouard Vlasic, but he's only signed up for 3 more years at $7 million, and nobody else there makes more than 3.2 for the rest of them. Your Logan Couture is sadly, and Barabanov are both on your IR list right now. I don't know how long they're going to be out. Barabanov only has the rest of this season at 2.5, and he becomes a free agent. Couture is signed up through 26-27 at $8 million. He's also a little older. I believe he is 34 now, so this is probably his last hurrahs. My guess is they'll look to trade, as much as he's been a Shark forever, they're probably going to try to do right by him and trade him off to a contender so that he can do something before he's done. Hertl is only 29, but my guess is within a couple of years they'll trade him off for draft capital as well. But they are an absolute crap show. Because they tried very hard, and they got very close a couple of times to winning a cup, and then just tried to keep going, and they never properly tore down. So that is why I say they might just be the worst team ever, because they have planned to be bad, but they haven't planned hard enough, and they're not just bad, they're unwatchable.
Fair enough.
That's the Hockey Corner. Now, power rankings. Number 10, we have the Dallas Stars. They are 7-3-1. In their last 10, they have gone 6-3-1. They have 15 points. They're playing some good hockey. I can't say that they're being bad right now as a team. They're actually a really good team. I think they have a good shot at making a run this year. At number 9, the New Jersey Devils at 7-3-1. Last 10, they are 6-3-1, and they have 15 points. Again, the Devils have made this miraculous comeback. The reason they're down at 9 is that Jack Hughes and Nico Hischier are out. They are injured right now. That does put a dent in how they're going to be playing, but they do have some talent that can absorb that for the moment. The Detroit Red Wings are at 8. They are currently 7-4-1. In their last 10, they have gone 6-3-1. They have 15 points. Yeah, the Yzer plan is working in Detroit. They look really good this year. I've been impressed. Now, there's another team at 7 I never thought I'd see on the power rankings again. But here they are. The Anaheim Ducks, who are 7-4-0. In their last 10, they've gone 7-3-0. They have 14 points. The young youth crop is finally making its presence known. They are playing some really good hockey right now. They have a young goalie in net who's absolutely stonewalling people. This is a good team right now. I didn't expect them to be back this quickly. Number 6, the Colorado Avalanche. They are 7-3-0. In their last 10, they have gone 7-3-0. They have 14 points. The reason they're down here is they have played a few less games. They've only played 10 games this season, but they do look pretty good. There are some holes, but it's still the Avalanche. Number 5, the New York Rangers. They are 8-2-1. In their last 10, they have gone 7-2-1. They have 17 points. They are playing very well. They still have Shesterkin, who's one of the best goalies in hockey. There is no question about that. Nobody's going to question that. The problem is he did get a little banged up in one of the tilts they had recently, so I do not know if he's going to be out for an extended period. If he is, they only have Jonathan Quick to back him up, and Quick is not the same goalie that won Stanley Cups. So that may hurt them. Number 4, the LA Kings, 7-2-2. In their last 10, they are 7-1-2. They have 16 points. This is a very dangerous team. They have retooled their offense. They look really good. And, I don't know what else to say beyond that. Dowdry is still Dowdry. He's still out there pounding people's heads into the turf. Yeah. Now for the surprise team on the list. This is a team after last season, didn't think was going to ever be here again. They were a tire fire last year. This year, the Vancouver Canucks. They are 9-2-1. In their last 10, they are 7-2-1. They have 19 points. Look, I don't know what happened. I don't know if it's the coaching. I don't know what it is. Something clicked in Vancouver, and they are off to a hot start. They are scorching the ice. They're playing very, very good hockey right now. Even JT Miller, whom I have gone at on this program and said you could not play. He's good at offense, but his defense sucks. They're finding a way to overcome it right now. They're playing incredibly well. Number 2, the Boston Bruins. 10-1-1. Last 10, 8-1-1. They have 21 points. You'd expect they'd fall off. They haven't. And number one, the Vegas Golden Knights. 11-1-1. In their last 10, they are 8-1-1. They have 23 points. They are looking to repeat as Stanley Cup champions and are probably going to do it the way they're playing. Barring massive injury. They are just on fire. It is not even funny. And I know those last two probably hurt you.
They did a little bit, but that's okay.
I know you hate Boston.
I hate Boston. I don't hate Knights. I'm just tired of seeing them so far up all the damn time. Bruins, I actively hate. There's a difference.
Can't say that I blame you for that. They did have there was a thing that happened. I want to talk about this because it's kind of funny. Not funny, kind of sad, really. So the Bruins played the Maple Leafs recently, and there's a lot of history there if you know anything about hockey. And Marchand, being the rat bastard that he is, it's a compliment, tripped Liljegren and slew-footed him at the same time. Liljegren went into the boards, injured his ankle. He is going to be out for an extended period with a high ankle sprain. Nobody said anything or did anything. I mean, and then the worst part, Tyler Bertuzzi, who just came from the Bruins and signed in Toronto this last offseason, Marchand skated by and said something, and Bertuzzi was caught on camera laughing at whatever he said. My dude, one of your guys just went down for an extended period, and you're acting all buddy-buddy with this guy who just did it.
I mean, to be fair, it's hard not to when you're ex-teammates who've actually, like, probably hung out a couple times or something. So it might have been completely unrelated, but it doesn't look good.
No, it doesn't. And you haven't played well this season, and we signed you to play on the first line and be the tough guy, and you haven't been the tough guy?
Like I said, it doesn't look good. It's probably, like, I imagine, completely unrelated from what happened.
Now,
like, you know,
if he had said that, because he got asked about it after the game.
Yeah.
His response was, I'm not going to comment on that.
Because he doesn't have to.
No, he doesn't. But if you say something else, like, hey, it was unrelated to the play that was going on, it was just something between old teammates. You say that, you diffuse it. Boom, gone.
Maybe.
Instead...
Or maybe people call you a liar and...
Doesn't matter at that point. You've at least given an explanation.
I get that, but at the same time, quite often they say that it's better to say nothing at all in some of those situations, so he might have just gone with the maybe it's better to just say nothing. I don't know. But it definitely, at bare minimum, it doesn't look good.
No. It does not look good.
Even let's be honest, even if he came out and said that's what it was, there would still be people who are like, well, yeah, it still doesn't look good.
Well, now, yeah, because he's getting drugged for it in the Toronto media.
Yeah, but I mean, even if he would have said, you know, oh, it was completely unrelated,
he'd probably still
would have got...
drugged.
Yeah, I'm saying Toronto. It would have probably happened either way.
It's Toronto.
So.
Yeah.
It be what it be.
Yeah, I'm going to say that he is probably going to be traded this season. He's only on a one-year deal. He's only on a one-year deal.
Maybe that's why he's laughing. Maybe he's like, I just don't even want to be here.
I don't think he does. I think he signed in Toronto because they offered him $5.5 for a year, which is better than anybody else was willing to offer him. And if I were Toronto, I'm looking for a trade partner now. I want to get rid of him. He isn't playing very well. He isn't very good. And he just doesn't fit the team culture.
No.
Bye.
Clear it ain't working with whatever's going on there.
Max Domi is not having a good season either, but I think there's reasons for that. Don't want to get too far into that.
No, that's fine.
I don't want to get off into the weeds on it, but I could probably talk about Toronto next week. I kind of want to. Anyway, well, that's our show for the week. Anything else you want to talk about?
No.
I think we covered everything. And look who's going to take center stage now.
Of course.
Alrighty, guys. We'll talk to you all next week. We hope you have a great time. If you like what we do here, give us a thumbs up, subscribe, share us around, leave a comment, tell us we suck, tell us we're awesome, it doesn't matter. And until next week, I hope all of you have a great week. I hope you accomplish what you put your minds to. And we'll see you all back here